All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're doing so much more than just rewatching a classic early 2000s rom-com. We are unpacking the emotional architecture of an absolute cinematic masterpiece. We're going to see exactly how Bridget Jones's Diary threw away that polished fairy tale playbook we were all so used to, and instead delivered this raw, chaotic, and deeply relatable pursuit of authentic love. It's honestly a masterclass in emotional storytelling, playing out almost like a beautifully messy cinematic graphic novel.
So, what does it actually take to stop chasing an illusion and demand to be loved exactly as you are? This one incredibly vulnerable question is the absolute heartbeat driving our heroine's journey. And by leaning so hard into this deeply human fear of being unlovable, a film produced on a pretty modest $25 million budget absolutely skyrocketed into a $282 million global cultural touchstone. I mean, it captures a fear we all secretly worry about, doesn't it?
Act 1, the weight of expectations. Let's just step directly into the suffocating reality of our protagonist. I want you to imagine being a 32-year-old London singleton, just drowning in insecurities about your weight, which, by the way, is a completely normal 136 pounds, and being surrounded by the relentless, crushing judgment of what she so hilariously calls the smug marrieds. You can feel the societal pressure bearing down on her right from the very first frame. To gain some sense of control over all that chaos, Bridget buys a diary for the new year. But, she isn't just journaling. She's essentially using this little book as sequential art panels to storyboard a completely new, totally flawless version of herself. It's such a relatable, even if slightly misguided attempt to just fix all her perceived flaws by sheer force of will.
Act 2, the illusion versus the mirror. Because as we all know, life rarely goes according to our carefully written plans. The narrative tension instantly hooks us here when Bridget finds herself trapped in a psychological tug-of-war between two polar opposite men. And listen, this is not just a simple love triangle. It's a battle between who Bridget thinks she should be with and who she actually needs.
On one side, we have Daniel Cleaver. He is the intoxicating illusion of easy romance, masking these massive bright red flags with undeniable charm. Then, on the other side, is Mark Darcy. He's this stiff human rights barrister who acts as a harsh, judgmental mirror during a completely disastrous first impression, while wearing a reindeer jumper, no less. They literally represent two completely different emotional extremes.
Mark's brutal initial assessment, which is fueled by the exact kind of snap judgments you'd expect to see in a Jane Austen novel, creates a devastating psychological baseline for Bridget's self-worth. When she overhears him say this, it basically confirms every single dark, insecure thought she has ever had about herself. It's a total gut punch that sets the emotional stakes for the rest of the entire story.
But man, the emotional whiplash here is just stunning. When you put Mark's earlier cruel insult right next to this quiet, incredibly vulnerable dinner party confession that happens later in the story, we suddenly see the sheer scale of character growth. It reveals the absolute core of our explainer today. Genuine love really doesn't require perfection.
Act 3, the shattering and the rebirth. Now, Bridget's journey to actually internalize that beautiful sentiment, definitely not a straight line. Long before she reaches genuine self-acceptance, she falls headfirst into Daniel's heavy workplace flirting, actively ignoring all those blaring warning signs just to chase a romantic fantasy.
But what happens when the intoxicating illusion finally shatters? The heartbreak hits absolute rock bottom for our heroine. It goes from the agonizing humiliation of arriving at a family party in a full Playboy bunny costume, all the way to the true shattering moment, catching Daniel completely naked with his American colleague. In that instant, the fantasy is totally destroyed. But from this wreckage comes her true emotional rebirth. Rather than just crumbling, Bridget fiercely reclaims her dignity. She actually quits her comfortable publishing job with this fiery, amazing declaration that she'd rather wipe toilets than work with a cheater. She proves her self-respect is finally stronger than her fear of being alone, taking a massive leap of faith to pivot into a terrifying new career as a TV reporter.
And what's so beautiful about this is how she actually succeeds. Despite some pretty comical on-air blunders, like, famously and hilariously sliding down a fireman's pole straight onto a cameraman, her quirky, completely unpolished authenticity totally wins over the viewing public. The audience loves her simply because she is real. She proves to herself and to us that you really don't need to be perfectly curated to be successful and adored.
Act 4, the revelation of truth. As her career finally finds its footing, thanks in large part to Mark actually helping her secure a landmark exclusive interview, all that psychological tension that's been brewing beneath the surface finally explodes into outright chaotic physical comedy.
The cinematic climax unfolds in this brilliantly rapid-fire rise and fall rhythm. We literally go from the intimately disastrous blue soup birthday dinner to Mark stepping in to play the hero, to a drunken Daniel crashing the whole thing, which results in an epic, incredibly clumsy street brawl. But the true victory here isn't the fight itself. It's Bridget decisively rejecting Daniel once and for all.
And right as she finds that inner strength, all those prejudices she held onto are finally dismantled. Her mother casually drops this shocking truth. Daniel had completely lied. He was actually the one who betrayed Mark by having an affair with his wife. Realizing she has completely misjudged the entire situation, Bridget is devastated to learn that Mark and his haughty colleague Natasha are moving away to accept jobs in New York.
Act 5, the cinematic climax. The film masterfully accelerates the emotional stakes here. Bridget is packing for a heartbreaking trip to Paris, really just resigning herself to the fact that she missed her chance. But then, in a stunning reversal, Mark unexpectedly returns to her flat.
Just as true love is literally within reach, Bridget's messy past comes rushing back to haunt her. She excuses herself for a moment to change clothes and accidentally leaves her diary wide open. Mark reads the terrible, harsh things she wrote about him during their whole Austen-esque misunderstanding, and he just silently walks out into the snow. The suspense in this moment is almost unbearable.
Believing she has lost him forever, and all because of her own harsh words, Bridget does something incredibly heroic. She sheds all societal expectations, all vanity, and all fear. In a deeply vulnerable, highly cinematic pursuit, she literally sprints through the freezing London snow in nothing but a thin cardigan and leopard print underwear. It is the ultimate perfect visual metaphor for completely stripping away her insecurities.
When she finally catches up to him, we get this beautiful, emotionally resonant revelation. He didn't leave because he was angry. He left to buy her a brand new diary for a fresh start, a totally clean slate. It brings this incredible, messy journey of self-doubt to a perfectly satisfying close.
The architecture of a phenomenon. Before we wrap up this explainer, we really have to acknowledge the intense behind-the-scenes dedication that made this graphic novel-level emotional realism even possible. Because creating a cinematic masterpiece that feels this intimately real requires immense craft. I mean, casting an American initially sparked huge outrage, right? But Renée Zellweger completely silenced her critics through just sheer dedication. She gained 20 pounds, worked undercover at a British publishing house, and absolutely nailed the accent. Meanwhile, Colin Firth and Hugh Grant brilliantly anchored Bridget's chaotic energy by so perfectly embodying their psychological extremes. You add in those snowy London locations and a deeply soulful pop soundtrack, and the emotional impact is magnified tenfold.
So, what was the result of all this emotional honesty and cinematic craft? Universal acclaim, a Best Actress Oscar nomination, a solid 79% Rotten Tomatoes score. It launched a massive, highly lucrative franchise that absolutely endures today. And it endures precisely because its psychological honesty about the fear of loneliness hits so incredibly close to home for millions and millions of viewers.
As we close out, I really want to leave you with this thought. In a modern world that is completely obsessed with curated perfection and constantly filtering away our flaws, perhaps the most cinematic, truly heroic thing you can possibly do is embrace your messy, authentic self. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. And hey, remember, you are completely worthy of a great story just the way you are.